Hello, I'm Rick Joyner. Thank you for joining us for this special bulletin on national health care and the national health care issue that truly is one of the most important issues of our times. And I am sounding an alarm. I'm trying to be as clear and as bold and as accurate as I can possibly be. And I know there are many people that are saying that, I'm just being incendiary in my statements and just ratcheting up the rhetoric. And really, sincerely, I don't believe that those who are trying to pass this healthcare bill pressure us into ramming this thing through. I don't think they have bad intentions. I think most of them have really good intentions. They haven't thought it through. They haven't thought through the consequences. I don't want to attribute evil intent, but I do believe there is unimaginable evil that will be released into our nation if this passes. Listen, you don't want the government running your healthcare. You don't want bureaucrats in charge of who gets health in America. And this will quickly end up in rationing. It cannot go any other way. It is impossible to go any other way right now with the government running it. It will end up there, end up fast. As inefficient, ineffective as the government is at running anything, listen, they cannot run a cash for clunkers program. How are we going to give them health care to run? It's madness to imagine this. We need to stand up, call your congressmen, call them every day, call your senators, call your representatives. Demand that they not pay this, that they not pass this. Okay, now I want to tell you, we're talking about rationing, and I've brought up euthanasia as one of the real evils and dangers that will be released. I need to verify, I need to establish how that's going to be done. I want to do it reasonably, logically, so anybody can follow it. And I really believe, I can accept and totally believe nobody in Congress, they would be appalled at the thought of it. I don't doubt that one bit. I'm not trying to imply evil intent on anybody there who's trying to pass it now, but I am telling you this is where it will end up. Now, if there is evil intent somewhere, there could be, people can be really evil in their intent and thinking it's good. One of the ultimate depravities that a nation can ever fall into is described in Isaiah chapter 5, and the ultimate depravity is calling evil good and good evil. That's where we are in our country. I'm sorry. We're honored. It says, and then goes on to say to dishonor the honorable and to honor the dishonorable. Now, God determines what is good and evil in His Word. It's not what people think. It's not their opinion of what they think is good or evil. There has to be a standard. The only standard that we can really base good and evil on is our Creator's determination of what is good and evil. And the very things that He calls evil, abominations, we've started glorifying and honoring, doing the exact same thing He talks about there in Isaiah 5. And we dishonor those who stand for truth and accuracy, belittle them, ridicule them, call them phobics and everything else, but we've gotten there as a nation. So we are capable of really perverse thinking. And a lot of what people think is good is really evil. And a lot of what people think is evil is really good. According to God, He's the standard. What He says is good and evil is what counts, and there is no other standard. Okay, so we're there today. Now here we have a situation. Let's look at our national budget. We are bankrupt as a nation, have been for a long time. They just have the authority to keep on operating, not declaring bankruptcy, not having to go there. Let me explain something simple to you. Anybody can understand, a 12-year-old can understand this. Cash basis accounting. It's easy to understand. That means most families do it. X amount comes in, income to the family. This amount goes out. So whatever's left is either, a positive, you save this much money, or you've exceeded your budget by this. You've gone into debt this much if you've overspent what has come in. Okay, that's called cash basis accounting. Now, the accounting we have to do as an organization and as a ministry and most businesses has to do is what's called accrual accounting, where you have to take into account assets and liabilities. Now, if you go into debt, if you sign a contract and obligate yourself to pay, for these, whatever you've purchased or anything, that's a liability you have to put on your accounts. It's something that's on the books. And what you have to do, your assets have to outweigh your liabilities if you're going to be solvent. Or you're going to have to show a way that you're really going to be able to pay these debts. Okay, now our U.S. government, when they tell us about our deficits, they're using the cash basis. We got so much tax income coming in, and we've got this going out. So we do have a deficit. We're spending a lot more than we're taking in. But one of the things they're not adding to that is the liabilities of all the entitlements, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and all that is adding up every year also. We have not put those on the books. We're not telling anybody that. When they're telling us right now our national debt is $3 to $4 trillion, if you went to a real accrual basis, the estimate that I saw was $99 trillion. $100 trillion. Okay, somebody up there has to be doing this math. Every year we're adding 14, some have said 17 trillion in liabilities that we're not putting on the books, we're not telling people about, because somehow we're going to have to get out of paying that. Some do think this national health care bill could be what they're planning to do. When you've got baby boomers coming to retirement age right now, they're going to want their Social Security money, and all of a sudden, think about this. Government does not produce anything. People working for the government don't produce marketable items that bring income to the economy. It's a weight on the economy, okay? The gross national product is developed by people in businesses and everything else. They have marketable things that we can sell on the world markets, in our own markets. When a government gets to the place where 40% are supported by the government, that means the 60% who are working in productive areas, producing something that can be sold, are having to support these 40%. So almost everyone who's in this really a truly productive thing, they're having to take care of themselves, make enough to take care of them and almost one other person in our present government. We are passing, with national health care, we're already past the 40% level of people either working for the government or on entitlements, being supported by 60%. National health care pushes that way past 50%. How's that going to work? No country has been able to survive 40%. We can't survive that long. That's why the deficits are getting bigger and bigger. The whole thing's starting to crack under the weight of this. Then you add to that all of these people coming into their entitlements, the whole baby boomer generation. Many believe that, when there's rationing of health care, they're going to immediately start denying the elderly health care, and they're going to get rid of them that way, all these obligations. It's hard to be that cynical, but if you really understand what's going on, the pressures on our government, what a lot of people are thinking, but there has to be another way. Listen, we don't have to go that way. We have the strength in our government. Managed correctly, our government should be a fraction of the size it is. It should be no more than 15%. It should have never gotten to 40%. Just run efficiently and effectively. Our government should be a fraction of its present size and accomplishing 4 or 5 times as much as it's accomplishing. This maddening mismanagement. And then we want to give them health care to manage. It is madness to even think about. They cannot manage cash for clunkers, much less our health care. We cannot let this happen. We've got to stand. If you saw The Lord of the Rings, when Gandalf faced that Balrog, a huge demonic monster, and he just took his stand and said, "This shall not pass. You shall not pass." We've got to take that same stand. We've got to do it with boldness, with courage. We've got to do it for ourselves. We've got to do it for our parents. We've got to do it for our children. We've got to do it for the Lord.